So Parrish, it was great talking to you, man, about the clothing business, man. We really took a deep dive into the business. We talked about fabric. We talked about the measurements, the quality of fabric, how to treat the fabric. I want you to get into, once you send the measurements off to the fabric people, the manufacturer, talk about the waiting time and how that process works. And then when you get the fabric back, talk about that initial fitting, that very first fitting.
Now the turnaround time typically for a custom garment can anywhere from 4 to 6 to 8 weeks. It can be even longer depending upon what fabric you've chosen. What I can tell you, existing fabrics at the cloth house sometimes take shorter time, where if they have to order the fabric, it's a special order from a manufacturer like a Dorme or a Loro Piana or Holland & Sherry, because it's not readily in their factory because it's very expensive.
Right.
And that's where the cost comes in. So they have to order the fabric, which may add another 2 weeks onto the order. And you have to know that when you're dealing with a client, because the expectations are, when am I going to get my clothing? And you may rattle off 4 or 6 weeks, and then you go into 8, 10, 12 weeks. So you have to be very careful with that. Once the garment is sent to me, I will book an appointment. Mr. Thorburn, this is Parrish Arnaldy, your custom clothing, your garment has come in. I want to do our second fitting together. The first fitting is the longest period of time we're going to spend together. It gives me an idea in terms of what you like, how you like your clothing to fit. The second fitting is where I put the garment on you. It's going to tell me measurements to fabric. And then we can go into the alteration process.
Right.
Now the beauty in that is that sometimes there may not be any alterations.
Right.
Or sometimes there may be some alterations.
Exactly.
Or sometimes you may sit with it a couple of weeks, and I may say to you, if I don't see anything, you don't see anything, enjoy your suit. If after a couple of weeks you feel that you want some modifications done to it, give me a call and I'll come and revisit you, and we'll get those modifications done. And then now I go into the file and change the tweaks. So going forward, it's the same fit all the time, just different fabric and style options that you've chosen.
Right.
And that's the beauty in custom. The only way this thing is going to change unless you have a great weight increase or decrease. A great increase, I always tell clients, hey, that suit that I made for you, how's that fit? Be honest. If it's a little snug around the waist, or and it's tight in the shoulders, you're working out or whatever. Because that way we need to go back to the drawing board and take some measurements just to adjust for that. If you lost a considerable amount of weight, if I haven't seen you in 6 months, I'm gonna throw a tape on you. And if you went and shred your body,
right,
you're gonna know the suit's really baggy, it's really loose. So then we have to go back to the drawing board. It's no problem in it. It's just that we need to know that, so you're, in terms of fit and consistency, you're getting exactly what you paid for as a consumer.
And it's funny that you say that. And you talk about those real personal aspects of the clothing business. As we progress through this pandemic, and we know, like particularly here in New York, we're at stage 4. We notice a lot of stores are open, and a lot of men's clothing stores are beginning to open. A lot of department stores are beginning to open, and but what we won't see is that real personal connection between the customer and the person that is going to do the fitting, that's going to and go through the fabrics and things like that. A lot of the regular department stores are not going to have that kind of personnel working anymore, and so pretty much people will go in the store and they're basically on their own.
Right.
So it's my feeling going forward, and I hope that you subscribe to this notion as well, is that I think your business will grow, because I think you will fill a void that has taken place during the pandemic, and the fact that stores are not going to be fully stocked with the kind of personnel that can offer the kind of service that you do. What's your thoughts about that?
I think that's very true. I think that this is an opportunity. I know things seem dim and bleak right now, but things always have turned, and the sun eventually comes out.
That's right.
I think we have to position ourselves as independent custom clothiers, stylists, and influencers. We have an opportunity to ourselves, our clients, and our business to really, really groom it and mold it the way we want to see it. We don't know at the end of it what real retail is going to look like. I anticipate, and I'm thinking snowballing from being in it so many years, from the retail perspective and as an independent, that it will be small boutique settings. They may not invest so much money in these brick and mortar shops. They may have a limited quantity, may offer more selection, online. And online business is very strong. Amazon is killing it. People are selling millions and millions of product online, clothing and everything. The same thing is going to happen. Clothing is doing a great deal of business. People are not wearing that much tailored clothing anymore. So now specifically men I'm working with, are wearing performance shirts and performance pants. Because they're only in the office maybe 2 days a week as opposed to 3 days a week.
Right.
So suiting is not that much necessary, but they want to feel comfortable in their chinos and their dress slacks and their alternate slacks with a drawstring that with the comfort, with the Tesla built in it, so it's water resistant, so you still warmer. So these are the things that as influencers, custom clothing stylists, we can directly influence and let customers know what the product is, what they're buying, because they're going to trust us and we're going to infiltrate. But we as independents have to take it as an opportunity and not look at it as a detriment, but as a positive. It gives us an opportunity to really get our social media up to par in terms of Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, whatever baseline that you use of low social media to really garner your business, you should be maximizing on all platforms, because these platforms just let you broaden your base. And the other thing, within your own network, within your circle of network, who's going to like what I do, what I'm doing sports, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. That's very important. So I look at it as opportunity, because we don't know what the other side's going to look like once it's all said and done. So the opportunity is there. So we're going to harness it, and we're going to put pen to paper and really execute. That's what it typically boils down from my perspective.
Right. So now, what do you think the future is going to look like in the clothing business? Like, we're going into fall 2020, and so what can people look for, particularly men? What can men look for going forward into fall, and what you think the fashion picture is going to look like as people begin to come out more? People want to probably dress up a little bit. They've been wearing their lounge pants every day for the last 4 or 5 months. So now, as New York progresses, we can people will become freer to go out more. So what do you think men are going to be looking at in the fall in terms of clothing?
I think it's going to be less about brand and more about things that make sense to them in terms of performance. Like I said, shirts and pants that make sense to them, things that they definitely want. We have to put together collections that make sense for them. They're not necessarily wearing a suit or a sport coat. If they are, they're wearing it maybe twice into an office. So they're going to want garments that are really easy peasy garments. Performance shirts that give stretch. Performance pants that give stretch. Nice knitwear and sportswear. That's where I think the niche is going to be for this season. I don't so much think brand is important, although some people have an affinity toward a brand. They're always going to wear the brand. Whether it be this or that, they're going to wear that. What I'm specifically talking about is the needs where they just want things to be functional in the wardrobe.
Exactly.
Functional in the wardrobe, which is basically those things, those performance items that really work for them, that they know they can count on. Since I'm not wearing a suit, I'm not wearing this, I want this pant and shirt to make it. So I've had a dozen of these shirts and a dozen of these pants I know are going to work.
Exactly.
Khakis, chinos, or whatever.
Right. So now, what's business looking like for you now? I know you have some appointments. You're delivering some goods. What's business looking like?
To be candid, business is challenging. I won't admit business is challenging, because the need is not. It's a luxury item. The need is not so much there now, but you never know. It can turn in 6 or 8 weeks. We could get a breather. We can get a breathing room for a minute. Business is challenging, so that means for me, I have to be above and beyond my acumen in terms of my salesmanship, and also my word is my bond. If I'm gonna deliver, I'm gonna deliver. Actually, this week I'm going down to Washington, D.C., and I have a client down there who's been waiting a minute for his product because the factory had literally shut down. And so because I'm going there to see my daughter, but I'm gonna make a special trip to make sure that he gets his 3 suits and 3 shirts that he purchased from me.
Exactly.
That's very important. And do the fitting there. I don't think we're gonna need a second fitting, but I think that's important. I say, I'm coming down, so as opposed to just shipping it to you, you hope you get it in a reasonable amount of time. I'm just going to bring it to you.
You're going to bring it to the customer, and you're going to do a personal fitting.
Correct.
And that's the advantage of having a personal relationship with a person that's a professional in men's clothing business.
Correct. The difference is the relationship. I mean, think of me as your accountant, your dentist, your mechanic. I'm just extended part of the family. I've been invited to parties, weddings, and things like that because I've made suits for the groom, and he's like, Parrish, come on in, I want you to come and meet some people for me. Or I've made suits for this guy. Hey, I'm part of the family. Hey, this guy he's a suit guy. I'm a suit guy. They don't remember he's the suit guy.
Exactly.
So that just opens the door for me in terms of referrals. And let's face it, look at it. You said not to be gender specific. We all know that the purchasing power are women.
Exactly.
Men buy on need, women buy on desire and passion.
Right, and women buy more men's clothing.
Correct.
We see those statistics all the time,
Fantastic.
particularly over the last 5 years.
Right.
So it's important. I think the information that you just talked about, I think women probably can learn as much as men can in terms of fabric, because women wear clothes too.
Right.
And I think those aspects about fabric are something I think women can benefit from as well.
Yeah, women are very knowledgeable and they want to know, but sometimes the quality of the clothing they get may not be what they want it to be. It may not be. They may be more of a poly blend or something.
Right, going into the stores.
Exactly, going to the stores. With me, I don't do any synthetics. I do all wool, because wool breathes. There's a misconception on wool. When you think about wool, you think about this dense fabric like I'm wearing a burlap sack.
Exactly.
No, there's different weights and weights of wool.
That's right.
And there's summer wools, there's winter wools, even cashmere. People think cashmere as a winter fabric. It's really not. It's a seasonal
fabric.
You can wear
absolutely.
Cashmere sweaters I wear in the summertime. They're very light, beautiful color, floral sweaters that I wear.
That's right. And they absorb perspiration really well, because that's what they do.
Correct.
And in terms of wools, like summer weight, 4 ounce, 6 ounce, it's like wearing you're wearing a suit, but it feels like you're wearing a t-shirt.
Exactly.
And you can have a jacket with a half lining or no lining. And I think when you go to those garments that maybe have a half lining or no lining, you really get to see the craftsmanship inside the coat.
Correct.
Because everything is finished off so nice.
With the fabric that you've chosen. So the lining, what the lining is just protecting you from the garment.
Right, exactly.
But when you get this half lining, the one things most of my summer clothing has is the half lining. Because I like to breathe. I'm wearing jackets and I perspire a great deal because I'm moving around a lot.
Exactly.
But the beauty is a half line jacket allows you to breathe.
Exactly.
And a lot of people are, like I said, performance-based, so wearing a half-line jacket. They want something so structured. They want something more comfortable. Almost like some jackets I wear almost like a sweater. It's
exactly.
Very easy peasy. So, and the fabric, when you look at the construction inside, it's the entire fabric. It's no lining, because sometimes sometimes the lining takes up a lot of the interior. But if you get a half-line jacket, there's blocked lining, and then there's all the rest of it, where the inside is beautiful, and you get more of the fabric you're purchasing.
Right.
And that's the beauty in wearing an unconstructed half-line jacket.
Right.
It's comfortable.
So now, what can men look for in trousers, in slacks?
What you can look for in trousers is performance slacks. Slacks that have a tasseling feel to it, that are breathable, water resistant. Dress pants you can make dress pants almost like a pair of sweatpants with a drawstring waist and a fitted bottom on it. You can do this with dress pants fabric.
Right.
And guys want this. They want this type of performance stuff because, like I said, they're not in the office every day now. So they're only in the office maybe 2 days a week. So if I'm sitting and I'm doing a virtual appointment, I don't necessarily have to have a dress pair of pants. I can literally have on a pair of, comfortable pair of pants that have drawstring and fitted bottoms, and I just got on a nice shirt and a jacket.
Exactly.
And I take it off and I put it on a leisure, like polo or something like that, or a nice knit or something like that.
Right.
So I think the direction of clothing nowadays, because of what's going on, is much more casual driven, performance driven.
Right.
It's not so rigid in terms of the shirt and tie and the more formal attire. It's much more relaxed.
Right.
It's much more relaxed.
So, Parrish, man, it was so wonderful talking with you, man. We go so far back, and it's great that we get a chance to be here in the middle of a pandemic in 2020, and we can still talk about the clothing business, because people still need to wear clothes.
Correct.
And the great drummer Art Blakey always told us, they see us before, they see us before they hear us. Mm-hmm. And we live by that mantra. Mm-hmm. And it's such a wonderful chance to get to talk to you.
Thank you.
And for you to really elaborate and go really deep into the business, man. Mm-hmm. And your knowledge level is so amazing to me, man. And thank you so very much.
Well, I want to thank you for taking the opportunity to ask me to come be part of the documentary series about the rag trade and how, the direction of where it's going. And I'm glad I could share my expertise.
Thanks so much, man.
Thank you.